over the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. From the prophet Jeremiah. Welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer Show. We talk, we play you music, and encourage you to create. This season, we invite you to join us as we create around a central theme each episode. We encourage you to find the path by making.
Welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer Show. I'm Benjamin, and this is Heidi, and this is episode 2 of season 4. Really, really glad to be here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well.
So far.
Yeah. This season, we've been taking a word and creating from that place. So everything that we're going to have in this episode is based on the word mystery. I want to say thank you to our patrons who have been supporting us each month, helping fund this show, helping fund our next album, which we're in the process of recording. I'm going to be recording with my bassist this time tomorrow, so looking forward to that. And we got a new patron this month.
Lane
Weiss.
you.
Shout out to Lane Weiss from Bend, who is also a really good musician, just an all-around amazing human being. We like him a lot.
Yeah, if you're in the Redmond Bend area, check him out.
Joyful Lane.
So
that's
kind. Yeah.
That's his stage name. And really, honestly, that's his personality. If I think of Joy, I think of Lane.
And his dog Luke has also been here in the studio. You're actually going to have...
I'm going to have his video.
Yeah, a video up out soon, so, of his music. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, all right. So, last season we were doing this, like, how are you feeling your humanity? This season, since, we're creating and learning from our creativity, how have you been creative, and what has that creativity taught you about yourself?
Well, I've been working on writing, painting. I'm realizing that there's not enough time to do all the things I want to do. So having to come to acceptance of that and being okay and trying to just focus on one thing in the moment is really hard for me to do. So picking one project to focus on for like an hour or a set amount of time. It's very difficult.
Learning to focus.
Learning to focus and accept all the creative things that they're just not all going to happen, and that's okay. It's good. It's okay to be limited.
It's okay to be limited, yeah. Well, I think I'm learning a lot of things because, even in just doing this show, trying to, do more with video.
Yeah, make it more documentary style.
And the things that I would do, occasionally, make those little artsy videos and background music, those are things I'm trying to do all the time now. And so now I found myself, even last week, just filming for one of the videos for this episode, I felt myself getting anxious because it's I have this new camera lens. I'm going to be trying to do something new and getting ready to go where I was going to shoot and thinking, oh, rather than am I going to do this right, I get to learn how to do this. And seeing even just in the act of making that it's a way of learning. And so I don't have to step into a skill having already mastered it. I get to enjoy learning it, and then enjoying it's going to help me get better at it.
So you don't have to be a professional at something first.
No, even if you do it for a job. So that's what I'm learning. Hopefully this month you've been creating and learning stuff about your art and about yourself through the process. So this week's episode is about mystery. During this month, people are focusing on things that are dark, things that are hidden, things that are scary, and mystery seems to be a word that connects that. And mystery really isn't a bad word. I think mystery carries more of an idea of it being unknown. What was it as a kid that brought you a sense of mystery versus like what brings you mystery as an adult?
Well, I think that rooms in my grandparents' house. They had a multi-level house in an older house in Tacoma, and that house was so mysterious to me. And so when they would take their nap in the middle of the day, I would go exploring. There's something about old houses and old buildings and hidden rooms. I just loved exploring.
There was a door to our attic.
Oh,
And it would, when you opened it, it was like a little door. You'd go in, and it, for you know how size as a kid, like things seem so much bigger.
Sure.
There was like a limit to how far I could walk in that room, and I always wondered what was on around the corner on the other side of the attic, because I couldn't get there because it was all fiberglass and framing. So I always imagined that there was like another world.
I think that there is an imagination piece that as a kid is very alive. And then as we get older, that part of us with excitement and imagination can kind of die. But our ability to imagine very bad things is often what gets stronger. So when there's an unknown, we're often dreaming up bad things. There is this paradox of being human. We love mysteries in books and stories, but yet if it's an unknown in our own life, we hate it.
Yeah.
We don't. So this is the very strange nature of being a human, is coming to grips with this paradox of unknown.
So looking into adulthood, what now brings you a sense of mystery?
The sky, the ocean, the woods, why people do what they do.
Just being honest, it's like, okay, what does it actually look like when you die? The older I get, the more I get closer to death. That becomes, there's certain aspects because of my faith that isn't a mystery per se, but how that actually plays out really is. And that leaves me with a little bit of fear and also a sense of wonder.
This month's piece that I painted, I wanted to focus on the woods and light. So many stories throughout history that I've loved have often been, there's been woods or forests or settings like that. To Kill a Mockingbird is one I just listened to again. You can't always see everything in the forest, and there's a lot of things that are hidden. And yet just a little bit of light can lead you to the path. So it's been fun to be thinking about light and the path and hidden things. So this is what I have been working on, and it's been a really good time.
The group of mourners gathered around the burial site that morning suspiciously eyed one another. Unlike typical mourners, these four strangers showed no signs of grief. The only sorrowful member of the party appeared to be the yellow lab. Albert, that was the dog's given name, was leashed to a nearby tree. He rested his head on his paws and quietly whimpered.
It was unfortunate for Albert that Sam Prescott hated dogs. Big dogs, little dogs. He disliked most animals for that matter. Even on this sad occasion, Sam had no sympathy for the distraught creature.
Finishing the smoldering butt of a cheap cigarette, Sam flicked it too close to the dog for Bridget Foster. As much as Sam despised animals, Bridget loved them. With an indignant glare, she promptly extinguished the cigarette with her foot and tossed it away from Albert. Squatting down on thick thighs, Bridget rubbed the dog's ears, and for a moment, Albert forgot his grief.
Sam rolled his eyes at Bridget and checked his watch. The invitation had said service started at 10, but by now it was 1:15. It was no sign of the minister. Sam was irritated. Not that he had anywhere to be, but he was irritated nonetheless.
Elsa Hernandez, who was desperately trying to quit smoking, raised an eyebrow at Sam as he lit another cigarette. Even in her chain-smoking days, she had enough sense to know that you don't smoke at a gravesite. Catching the whiff of the scent, she shoved another piece of nicotine gum in her mouth and ferociously chomped. As the east wind cut through her leather jacket, she pulled it tighter. Being such a thin girl, she was always cold, but somehow she never thought to bundle up. The heels of her stilettos stuck in the wet grass, and she chided herself for having worn them. Like Sam, she too was watching the clock. A coworker was covering for her, and she was anxious to get back.
Felix Carson was the final member of the little gathering. He faced the constant challenge of observing people without staring. He often found himself lingering for too long on a particular subject. When caught staring, he would quickly look away and feign interest in something else.
While the dog and the other three characters did intrigue him, Felix was more interested in the clandestine nature of the event in general. An invitation via courier, a red wax seal, no return address. This was the stuff of great literature and film, the kind of story he longed to write but didn't.
When the invitation had arrived, Felix had carefully opened the envelope with a butter knife. Over the past week, he had read the handwritten contents 100 times. Your presence is requested at the passing of a close companion. This message, along with the time and location, had been the only information provided. Like the other invitees, Felix had debated attendance. Curiosity, however, had worked its magic and drawn them all there.
As they waited, it was Elsa's nervous confession that relaxed the other three. "Excuse me, but could someone tell me who died? I was told a friend was being buried here today, but I'm not sure who."
Did you get one of those mysterious invitations? Felix perked up. The others nodded and recounted the same story. If this is some kind of joke, somebody's going to pay, Sam threatened. He wasn't quite sure how he'd make them pay, but he would think of something.
"Do you know how long this is going to take?" Bridget asked. She'd overslept and only had enough time to gobble down a muffin. She was ready for something more substantial. A gentle yip from Albert interrupted the conversation. The dog stood and looked to the bottom of the hill. They noted a tall, balding man who took his time walking in their direction. It wasn't that he appeared incapable of moving faster, but he seemed like the type of man who was never in a hurry.
It's about time, Sam muttered under his breath and assumed this to be the minister. He finished off his cigarette and vowed to abstain until the service was over. As the balding man arrived, Albert licked his lips. His master produced a dog treat and quietly unleashed him. Without hesitation, Albert faithfully moved to stand by his side, and the whimpering ceased. After caring for the dog, the man turned his attention to the group. He silently counted to 4, and he nodded, pleased. "It seems we're all here," he informed them. He retrieved a tan piece of paper from his pocket. Felix noted that this was the same paper on which his invitation had been written.
The man cleared his throat and closed his eyes. This signaled the others to follow suit. Sam, however, who was adamantly non-religious, expected a prayer and refused to close his eyes. After several minutes of awkward silence, the others slowly opened their eyes, and it was unclear if the man was meditating or had fallen asleep standing up. They shrugged at one another and waited for some type of instruction. Eventually, the man opened his eyes and, in a loud voice, announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's not how you begin your life, it's how you finish it." After this proclamation, he motioned for them to move in closer, which they begrudgingly did. "That's better. Now for the introductions."
The strangers exchanged a confused look with one another. None of them could recall a funeral with introductions. "Let's start with Mr. Carson," the balding man said, and directed them to Felix. All eyes turned to the surprised man, who was suddenly uncomfortable by this scrutiny. "Me?" he coughed out. "You are Felix Carson." The middle-aged man nodded and kicked at the ground. "Very well, then. Felix Carson, you're a computer programmer who sits at home in his parents' basement. You dream up stories that you never actually write. Fear of failure keeps you from ever trying to publish anything. Last month, you were admitted to the ER for a panic attack. Meet the rest of the group."
As embarrassment washed over his face, the two women provided him sympathetic looks. Sam, on the other hand, wasn't so delicate. "You live with your parents?" he mocked. Without retort, Felix hung his head and continued to kick the ground.
"Thank you for volunteering to go next, Mr. Prescott," the balding man continued. "Sam Prescott, you are one of the best guitar players to have graced the world. But due to the alcoholism that pours shame down your throat, you spend your life in a filthy apartment where your music is lost on the rats. Rather than swallow your pride and ask for help, you've become incapable of bonding with your family and friends. 2 months ago, you were brought to the hospital by a woman who found you passed out in the alley. Meet the group." At this public caricature, Sam cussed at the balding man and broke his vow, turning aside to another cigarette. The rage inside prevented his shaky hand from successfully igniting the lighter. This brought forth another flood of profanity. As he prepared to storm away, the bald man stopped him with, "If you leave now, you won't know why you were invited." Eyes blazing, Sam whipped around and sneered. "What's this all about, preacher? I thought you were here for a funeral, not a meet and greet." Ignoring Sam, the bald man turned to the skinny woman, who immediately tensed up. Noticing her stress, he smiled, and that made her feel better.
"Elsa Hernandez," the man said, reading her name out. "Your incredible gift of dance has been seen by few." "A dancer, eh?" Sam piped up with a sleazy smirk. "Not that kind of dancer," Elsa snapped at him. "At least not anymore," she thought to herself. "I don't judge," Sam shrugged.
The balding man ignored Sam and continued. "Punishing yourself for your past, you hide your talent in a local diner, behind menus and coffee cups. You were recently hospitalized for attempted suicide. Elsa, meet the group."
Elsa's eyes quickly filled with tears, which she immediately brushed aside. She would not cry in front of these strangers. The sound of Bridget's growling stomach brought the balding man's attention to the last member of the group. Before he could open his mouth, the plump girl burst into tears. Albert moved to comfort her, and Elsa fished in her pockets for a tissue to offer, but was unsuccessful. She awkwardly patted the other woman's shoulder instead. "Bridget Foster, although you possess the talent to be a great stage actress, anxiety and self-loathing cause you to eat your worries away. You keep your talent locked up in your townhouse, where you self-medicate with food and prescription drugs. 3 weeks ago, you took too many sleeping pills and had to have your stomach pumped. Meet the group."
With the formal introductions out of the way, a question emerged from the group. "Say, mister, who are you anyway?" Naturally, the question was from Sam, who was ready to retreat. Undeterred, the balding man locked eyes with Sam. The better question is, who are you? Are you just what I said you are, or is there more to tell? Having no response, Sam cursed under his breath and took a few steps away. Bridget, on the other hand, had stopped her crying and felt strangely relieved. Who's in the casket? She nervously asked as she rummaged in her purse for a candy bar.
Ah, the question you've all been wondering. Whose funeral is it? Why are you here? The man turned to face the coffin. He rubbed his hands across the smooth surface as if to say goodbye. Then, in a sudden movement, he grabbed the lid of the casket and flung it open. Bridget shrieked and covered her eyes while the men peered forward. It's okay, Elsa said, and gently tapped her shoulder. Open your eyes. I've never seen a dead body before, Bridget moaned through her hands. It's empty, Elsa reassured her. Bridget peeked through her fingers until she could see that the casket was indeed empty. With powerful steps, the balding man began to circle the coffin. Pointing at each of the mourners, he shouted, It's your funeral day.
He's crazy, Felix confided to his new comrades. Let's get out of here, Sam said with authority. Leaving so soon, Sam? The balding man called to him. Are you so eager to return to your past, to the hole you live in? Who do you think you are? Sam shouted at him. You think you know us? Think you know me? Well, you don't. You don't know anything about me. Calmly, the balding man folded his hands. Then tell me, Sam, who are you? At the question, Sam cursed again, which made Albert yip. I know you have a choice, Sam. You all have a choice.
What's he talking about? Bridget whispered to Elsa. Overhearing her, the man came back to stand in front of them. Up until now, your lives have been a series of rough drafts. Today, you have the choice to start again, to rewrite your story. What do you want us to do? Elsa ventured. Your fear of being known has just happened. Now everyone here knows you. But how do you know us? Felix asked. None of you recognize me, the man asked, and they all shook their heads. Are you one of those creeps who spies on people then blackmails them? Elsa asked.
I'm a man who looks for hidden beauty. I've seen it in each of you. All right, mister, we give up. You got us. Great joke, Sam said and began to clap. It's not a joke, Sam. In fact, I seem to recall you talking about your dreams as you lay in that lonely hospital bed. I thought you said you didn't know him, Elsa accused Sam. I don't know him, Sam countered as he searched the other man's face for recognition. And you, Elsa, being in a hospital is a vulnerable place. When people are in pain, they share their secrets with strangers. In the hospital, I spend my life with the sick and the dying. When I see the living waste their talent, it's more than I can bear, and all of you are dying inside. And none of you can start living until your old life is put to death. And this brings us to why you're here today.
To kill us? Bridget asked. At this, the man roared in amusement. Kill you? I want to release you. That's why I arrange funerals for people's old lives. You're kidding, Felix said. Not kidding, Felix. On that hospital bed, I heard you admit to spending your life dreaming rather than living. I couldn't let you go on like that. How are we supposed to do that, mister? Elsa asked. Live, I mean.
You'll never know the beauty you're capable of unless you risk failure and rejection. None of you have taken that risk. Sticking his hand out, the man looked up to the sky and fought for rain. His work here was done. With a concluding look, he spoke out. Actress, dancer, musician, writer. These are your new names, if you'll receive them.
You're just going to leave us here? Elsa asked as the man moved to go. You're not alone anymore, the man said and motioned to the little group. Then he whistled to Albert, and the two of them slowly descended the cemetery hill. For some time afterward, the mourners stood in silence as they pondered the balding man, his loyal dog, and the empty coffin.
Smoke, see it rise higher and higher. Gather round. Mystery, history, drawn to a fire. Gather round. Listen to stories, tales we have spun. Hear them out. All of our questions, fig leaf by answers, no longer hiding our doubt. Feet pound, drums drum, grandfathers cry. You're not in control, but you live in denial. Denial. Sing and dance out the shadow. Feel your feet on the ground. Heartbeat, one with each other, burning our barriers down. Blinded alive, the ash poked and prodded, pulling the grief from my eyes. Bloodshot newborn, keening a midlife, no longer living alive. Feet pound, drums drum, grandfathers cry. Your world falls apart like scales from your eyes. Your eyes. Sing and dance out the shadows. Feel your feet on the ground. Heartbeat, one with each other, burning our barriers down. Oh, sing and dance out the shadow. Feel your feet on the ground. Heartbeat, one with each other, burning our barriers down. Come on, sing and dance out the shadow. Feel your feet on the ground. Heartbeat, one with each other, burning our barriers down. Feet pound, drums drum, grandfathers cry. When death finally comes, will he find you alive?
All right, well, that's our show for this month. We got some prompts for mystery because we want to keep that going. So what are some prompts?
Well, I was thinking about that paradox of we love mystery, we hate not knowing. They're two different extremes. And I think one of the reasons we can have that tension is you feel powerless when you don't have information.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a cool idea to do a mystery inventory. Maybe make a list of what are all the things that you don't know about yourself or life or the world, and then make a list of what are things you are certain of. I am certain right now that our cat is outside squealing, so if you hear him, I apologize. We're trying to ignore him. But when you make an inventory like that, it can help see, okay, there are things that I'm certain of. There are things that I do know. And then maybe look at your list of unknowns and, okay, which ones do you need to really take time to pursue, to find out? And which ones can you just be okay with resting in the not knowing? So kind of a mystery inventory of your life up to this point. That might be a cool idea.
I like that idea. That's a good one.
I thank you for saying so, even if you don't like it.
No, I do. I think it's good.
No, I know you were serious.
One that comes to mind for me, because I struggle with this, when we're watching television, especially if I get really attached to certain characters, I will be that person that gets on the internet to find out what happens.
That's how I don't understand that.
It
spoils the what's.
Because I need to be, I don't like, I feel like I have to control my emotions. So if you're a person like me who needs spoilers to feel safe watching television, put your phone in the other room and experience the show the way the artist intended you to experience.
See, that's an even deeper question. Oh, so maybe the artist wanted you to experience that way, and by you being a spoiler alert of things, you're not
spoiler alert of things.
You're a spoiler alerter. You're not. Would it be too strong to say you're not honoring the artist? Oh, maybe. I'll let you decide. I'm not judging.
No,
it's a question.
Well, you are, but that's okay.
No.
You're accurate.
I get it. So, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that maybe if you like to paint or you like to do visual art, maybe do something with a blend of light and shadow. One thing that I really liked when I was a kid was doing the silhouette tracings. Or I think I had one done of me.
Oh,
where,
yeah. I know what you're talking
where
about.
you kind of stand in front of a paper and someone traces your silhouette.
Yeah.
So maybe there's someone you really love or care about. You could maybe trace their silhouette.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Play around with light and shadows.
So on the visual piece, or even just the music piece, I know sometimes when we go to create, we want to have a plan. So we want to know exactly what we're creating and what it's going to be like. Our friend Robert does this sometimes when he draws. Like he'll just put his pencil on the paper and just kind of start going and just see what develops. So whether you're a musician or a visual artist or whatever, go to the page, go to the instrument without a plan and just let it develop. Let it develop. Don't try to control it. Don't try to rush it.
Free play it.
Yeah. You got any more?
I have no more for right now.
Okay.
So no. Make sure if you enjoy journaling and having something to print out, we have our journaling worksheet with these prompts both on our Patreon page and on Facebook. Yeah.
Good deal. Well, next month's word for November is going to be gratitude. No. Little too on the...
You don't have to be thankful this November, apparently.
You're free
good
from
to
gratitude.
Go. You're good to go.
No, the word for this month, it's connected to it, but it's the word belonging. So that will be your creative prompt moving into November, and that is what we're going to be creating from for the next episode. Yeah.
So just be grateful. Just for funsies.
Yeah, just be sort of grateful this time. All right, well, we love you. We'll see you next month.